What's up, everybody? I am not James, nor am I Jen, but we are filling in, and I've got a buddy here today, and we have an amazing guest, and it is none other than Richard Rivera. How's it going, man?
Great, great. I've got my James tribute beard going today.
I was caught off guard because I was pushing out the episode. I was posting it everywhere, and I said, "Oh, that's me." That's so, man. So we're filling in because James he got called away for his other job, and Jen is actually driving back to the shop from unloading tons of amazing books. So they asked both of us to fill in today. So good morning, good afternoon. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. Excited. So many things happening at Scout. You know, we're always got so many things happening behind the scenes, but more and more things that we can talk about. So yeah. I mean, it's makes for busy days, and you get a lot accomplished.
Yeah, it's been amazing since the launch of Scoot. It was such a cool idea when I heard about this. It excited me because I've got little ones,
Mhm.
and I said my kids come in here all the time, and the only thing that I can give them are like the free comic book day books and stuff, right?
Mhm.
So now there's now and yes, there's all kinds of kids books out there, but now it's coming out from my favorite comic book imprint, and I was really excited. And then now you guys are doing launch now, and tell us a little bit about launch because I heard a little bit about them, but I don't think everybody out there knows too much.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Just coincidentally, being at my area of work here, I happen to have some on me. Um, Launch is an initiative we've started. We wanted to put out a line of books that might bridge the gap between picture books and comic books. You know, it's kind of a big jump. Not only do you get the words, but you have to know where to go next. And of course, you probably have
Yeah.
somebody helping you with that.
Uh-huh.
But we started, basically, we have three phases. I'll kind of show you them in a little bit of order here.
Yeah.
But we've got a phase one book, which is in this case, Bandit's Imagination, Tub Trouble.
Yeah, that one
And
is so cool. I got to read a little bit of it, and man, I love these things, and I am definitely gonna grab some for my kids.
well, I'll show you how they work. I mean, like this
Yeah,
first one,
please.
the first one we're talking about just very simple double page splashes all the way, and
Oh, it's gorgeous.
it's just words that you can read along with, or sound effects and noises, you know, whoosh and glub glub, things that are fun for a child to say, and things that are
Mhm.
fun, I think, for a parent to read to them. But you can see here, I'll show you a little bit more of this amazing artwork here. It's
Oh,
just
wow. Yeah, that's gorgeous.
um, uh, Jim Mesling and Amy Harlow are the creators of that. Now, the next step up, we've got super cats for both these examples.
Mm.
On step two, we still want to have the simple, just one panel per page, but we want to introduce a little bit of simple vocabulary as well as kind of some repetitive things here. So we've got Meow climbs up, up, up,
Oh, so cool.
and looking down, just very demonstrative of what they're reading.
Mhm.
And it's Super Cats is great because it's kind of like celebrating the hero and
Mhm.
everybody.
Yeah.
um Now phase three, or stage three, introduces sequential art for the first time, and this is also a Super Cats. Caleb Thusat and Angela Odling did the art, and
Yeah.
they created these great books. But you got the one panel here, but you go up to three panels. But again,
Oh, that's so cool because that's one of those things that I was gonna ask about. Because because I asked we are obviously mutual friends through the internet,
mhm,
and
mhm,
we so I asked you about these things, and the way you explain it, and I've obviously seen tons of other interviews with you in there,
mhm,
and when you explain these things, I was like, wow, this is so cool because I never really thought about, yes, you have to learn how to read a comic book sometimes.
mhm,
It's a little
mhm.
difficult, and when I was first, and maybe that's one of those unspoken things that us geeks don't want to to admit. Sometimes it was a little difficult to figure out how the panel layouts and where they all went, and you read out of order sometimes, and it's just one of those things that I just do naturally, and I didn't realize, yeah, that's like that would be amazing to have something to bridge the gap and have the children kind of have that feel. So such a cool idea.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with it. I think we're going to put out a lot of really great books. We want to keep that line going. And we're in talks with some of our other creators of some of the other Scoot titles to maybe do a retrofit and to do some of, like, for example, maybe revisit Soulstream, but as this kind
Oh,
of a reader,
yes. I love that. I would love to see tons of other Scout titles as well, kind of make a little switch over and kind of thing. You see all these creators out there, and they create the chibi characters of their own line.
Mm-hmm.
What a great idea too. That would be really cool to see.
Yeah. And then once they've graduated from those 3 stages, they've got comic books to read as well, which is what we're going to do with these. Also, I know Caleb and Jim and Amy are working on more comic booky versions of some of these as well, so they can go to comic books, because the next generation of comic book readers aren't going to magically appear. They've got to we as enthusiasts, of course, can show our young ones that can share that, but we also to have this as a resource, I think is going to be a great thing.
Yeah, and the and the landscape of comic books is changing right now. We have crazy stuff going on where we have shortages left and right, and it's really difficult to get these into our hands right now. Do you guys have any way to kind of combat that? How you guys are doing that? Because I know you talked to us. You said we found some paper.
Yeah, absolutely. The Mustache, James, and David and Charlie have been working really hard on finding some other outlets for us, and we're going to shift some of our print jobs to different printers that can accommodate us into their schedules. That's not going to be an immediate thing, but very soon we'll be catching up on those titles that we're kind of that we've promised and that we've had ready to go. We just didn't have the paper to get them printed. So in the very near future, Scout's going to start releasing 6 to 8 titles a week.
Oh wow!
Just to catch up with everything.
Yeah,
that's a logistical nightmare in itself. But David, Charlie, and James have it well under control.
You guys could do it. We have faith in you because the one thing that I know about Scout and all the amazing staff members at Scout is you guys are all rally around each other, and if you guys have a common goal, you guys are always going to make sure that it gets done. That is the one thing that I've noticed, and what an amazing thing. I have faith.
Well, yeah, I think it's great that by far the majority of the people that we work with have all been indie creators themselves. So we've all experienced the ups and downs and convention life and everything else that goes into it. So we have a certain empathy with our creators as well that might not come naturally to someone who's just coming in this from just the publications end of it. But we've had actual experience in making our own comics, and I think that helps with a common language and to understand issues or things that we can, or we can participate in aiding the creators as well.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your own creations here, because you have your own stuff that you put out as well, right?
Yes, when I have time. I will say that the long-awaited Stabity Bunny 12, which will kind of wrap up that first arc, will be coming out this year. We've had a number of difficulties just with our individual team members. We want to keep that whole team, the original team, together, and we've had everything from multiple hospital stays to volcanoes to, of course, the things that everybody's dealt with, the pandemic, etc. But yeah, we're going to make it happen, and it's going to be worth the wait. And then we're going to move into the second arc. And Grace right now is 7 years old, but she's going to be 15 and she'll turn 16 in the second arc. So we're going to take a big jump, but it's just going to be following the story when something important happens. So yeah, and then there's one more arc where she's 18 and Grace Lee's Stabby Bunny arc will be over at that time, and
Mm.
and yet Stabby Bunny can continue. So we'll see where that goes.
Awesome. Okay. So this show is called I Must Ask You a Question. And today the beards are taking over. But so I don't know if you have any questions for me here in this portion of the show, but I got a question because I haven't been able to sit across from you and talk to you like this before. But I need to know, man, and I'm sure you get this questions. People have asked you this tons of times, and I'm sure your fans know this answer, but I don't. I need to know, what was your inspiration, and what was your favorite, that one favorite comic book that made you, you're a creator today. What was that inspiration?
Well, I am very old. I am 58, so I was
That's
reading.
not old.
Well, I was reading comic books back, as they were coming out in the Silver Age, etc. So like the first comic book I remember holding, and this is one that I would have been too young to buy, but my cousin had it. He mistakenly left this big stack of comic books, which were just comic books back then. There, so Avengers #5,
Oh wow.
the original series with the molten, with the lava men and all of that. That was the first comic I really kind of that burned into my brain. But then after that, I read everything from Marvel to DC to Harvey to anything, because like I would read the Marvel and DC first, and then that was when there really were no, back in the ancient days, dinosaur roamed the plains, and there were no comic book stores like Space Cadets and stuff. You had to go scavenge and find them, hunter-gatherer kind of a thing. So they were at convenience stores, they were at grocery stores, they were at drug stores, and my I was the only child of my immediate generation. So all my great aunts and uncles and everybody would take me around, and I'd get comic books. And like I said, after I get through Marvel, DC, then I would be reading Richie Rich and Hot Stuff and whatever else was out there, Dell, whatever else I could find. But really, the Silver Age, I think, impressed upon me the most because the stories were fun. They weren't, talking down to kids. They weren't aimed necessarily at kids, but it was the phase before, nostalgically, before everybody got gritty and bad, and then after that, probably, although I'm answering this question far too long, the like when Alan Moore started doing his stuff with Miracle Man and V for Vendetta and Swamp Thing and everything, that just kind of showed me a whole different level of comic book writing I hadn't thought about before.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff, man. Excuse me. I mean, we all love that stuff. Like, it's amazing that you have this kind of passion for the stuff. See, my first book that I picked up, well, obviously we have all these where I feel like I was introduced to comic books way before anything, but the first book I ever picked up was obviously in the 90s. It was a little bit later. This book had come out, and everybody knows I talk about this all the time, but it's Jim Lee's X-Men run, and that was one of the first ones I ever bought for myself. And after that, I was done. I was in. I was bitten for life.
Yeah. And then and then I guess that's right. And then right after that, I guess it led into like the Will Portasio or runs.
Yeah. It just got even better and better. You're just like, oh my gosh. All right, I guess this is what I'm doing now for life.
Yeah. Well, and that's what, with Scoot, we want to share some of that passion as well. And if, for some people, they're not listening to this podcast, but for some people, comic books are something they did, they're a fond memory, they move on. For some of us, we're in for life, and that's it. And whichever way it falls, but because reading is so important, as I used to say, is fundamental. And so if we can put some, if we can, stir the imagination, inspire the next generation at any level, it's a job that we feel like we've done it.
I love that because it's absolutely true. You inspire. Listen, this is one of those things. I have a podcast, and when I originally set out to do the podcast, I went into it just wanting to ask one question of all the creators that sit in front of me, and that question is, how do you make comic books? Because that answer for each and every creator is different. And I think that is the same way as what the way we learn. We all learned completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And these comic books and the things that you guys are doing are helping us understand comic books, but it's also reading and sequence and more of these things. Me and my wife are and more my wife probably teaching our children in home right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a 3-year-old and a soon 4-year-old, soon to be 2-year-old, and an 11-year-old at home. So the younger ones we're trying to teach, all the fundamentals and all that good stuff. But we're learning that the way we were taught, like alphabets and sequence and all that stuff. Kids don't learn the alphabet and sequence. Maybe numbers and sequence,
Mm-hmm.
but it's better to learn the alphabet, out of sequence, because the way you speak and the way you write the English language is not in sequence. So I was like, oh, well, that just makes complete sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love this it's not only just teaching them to read, it's teaching them to understand sequence of events and character development and things of that nature. So it's amazing. And the most simplest things, seriously, it's blowing your mind. It's absolutely crazy day. We got a question. Here's a geeky question. What moment or moments or creative decisions in comics disappointed you the most?
I'm not trying to evade the question. I'm trying to understand the question. You think it's focused more at like when I've been or when I've
I
been
feel like this might be
or like in the industry.
I think it sounds more of it like in the industry.
Not so much. This isn't exactly an answer to the question, but it's the only thing I think of really as far as like where I felt a little disappointment or disillusionment, and it has nothing to do with a particular company's decision so much as I think going back to what you're saying, understanding how comic books are made.
Mm-hmm.
When I found out, and it goes back with your X-Men, and this is before the run where you're reading it, but when I found out that because Dave Cockrum wanted to draw, like, say, spaceships or whatever,
mm-hmm.
that's what caused the X-Men to go out into space. You know what I mean? And before in my head, it was always like, oh, this world exists and people step in and they kind of they take the mantle and they keep this world going. And I don't know, it should have been obvious, but when I realized it was like, it could just turn on the whim of a creator. We might not be reading about these people at all anymore. We're going to go because somebody wants, Walt Simonson likes to draw dinosaurs or whatever. We might be reading dinosaur stories.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, you're right. Like let's keep it going with the X-Men right now. In the X-Men, what are they doing? They're focusing on Krakoa, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this world, like, that only makes sense. The whole entire time that you're reading X-Men just wanted to be accepted, right? It only makes sense that they would want to kind of go off and create their own kind of like statehood or whatever they're doing, right? So yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I was saying, and of course, their whole revival and everything took place there, so it's kind of like full circle.
Yeah, they're all exactly, and so I mean, we all change, we all adapt, and we all evolve. Of who we are, right? We we are literally doing that every day as we age. So it only means why I always, as we always, like, when you're hanging out with your buddies, you always talk about, oh man, I hated when this comic book creator did this, or you get really upset about a character dying or something. You're like, man, that's comic books.
Yeah,
they'll be back around.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, maybe less so with indies, but certainly with publishers that are driven more by the movies and they're keeping that IP going.
Oh yeah.
This character utterly changed. It's like, well, wait till before the next movie comes out, they'll probably be changed back. And yeah.
I definitely agree. Oh man, yeah, man. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Scout and Scoot right now for 2022. You guys got all kinds of really great stuff. Let's just imagine that the paper shortage one is there, and we're going to be hitting all the goals that we set out for this year.
Right. Well, we are going to be. We definitely, like I said, There's going to be a big influx for all you people who have pulls. You're waiting for your favorite Scout titles to come out. We feel your pain because we want to get them out there to you. They've been, we've got the files, we're ready to go. We just needed that paper. And now that James and Charlie and David have had the calls, made the contacts, and are making it happen, these are going to be coming out. And like I said, 6 to 8 titles a week. You're going to be getting, an incredible infusion of Scout. We've got trades to catch up on. We've got individual series. We've got magazines that haven't come out yet. So it's easier for me right now to kind of rattle off Scoot, and I can address Scout as well. But like with Scoot, we're finally getting our trade paperback of Action Tank by Mike Berry is going to be coming out. And I'm in love with all of the Scoot books. But I remember getting Mike Berry's submission, and you only have so much time in the day. Sometimes you quickly scan over something, you go to the next thing, and you're going to come back to this. But man, I read I think it was like almost 200 pages of stuff. I sat there, I read the whole thing. So that was a really healthy sign.
Wow.
We've got we've got Juniper coming out, and that's Nathan Thompson and Georgiana Brown. And coincidentally, perhaps, Mike Berry, the Action Tank creator, is from Australia. Juniper, also Australia. So I don't know, coincidence, but that's a really, really fun book. The art on it. Hello,
Jen.
Ignore me. I'm all sweaty and gross.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I was just kind of rattling off a few Scout books, Scoot books will be coming out, and then I'm going to talk about Scout a little bit. To repeat, in case you're just getting here, Jen, we're going to be having very soon, through the hard work of James and David and Charlie, we're going to be having 6 to 8 Scout, Scoot, Black Caravan books coming out a week for a while to catch us all up. So all those polls, all those subscribers are going to finally get caught up, and then it's going to all even out. And later in the year, we're going to be back to just the regular schedule as we go, as we always planned, always intended. Another book.
I have to say, this is my favorite thing that you guys have done.
Oh,
that's what we're talking about. Yeah, they're awesome.
The stage readers, they're amazing.
Thank you so much. I still have the little, not a cocktail napkin, that's what but it was underneath my water that I first sketched out what the launch logo and stuff would look like. And it's got a rocket and everything. I'm thinking a Space Cadets exclusive would make a lot of sense, but that's just no pressure. I'm just saying. We were also talking about on that we're going to probably try to go back. Some of the creators are willing to kind of retrofit some of their creations. So you might even see something like a Soulstream one that's in that kind of reading mode done for some of the launch books as well. So we really appreciate it. And thank you so much for trying out that the launch series, because we want to get, I've got one too. We're going to get this into the hands of children everywhere.
I need to get some for my kids because they would love it to sit down. I'm reading Soulstream to them because I got the trade, and I'm reading that to them, and literally they'll beg, and Dad, can we read it tonight? Can we read it tonight? And I'm like, okay, let's read a couple pages.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. Seda did a wonderful job. She's working on some stuff for the second book. And again, you're hearing it here for the very first time. Rumor has it that maybe to bridge that long time between trades, there might be some sort of Soulstream one-shot that might come out or something to keep you more Soulstream goodness.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. Amazing.
But we, on the Scout side, we've got, so many things, it's hard for me to remember some of the things that have been printed that haven't quite made it out yet. But of course, we've got the Black Cotton trades coming out. We've got our Lifeform trade will be coming out. We got more Impossible Jones, more North Bend, more Dancing with Dragons, more. We got
Cult of Victorous Snatch trade is going to be coming very soon.
We got Distorted. We got we've got so many things. We got the broken
new
soul
by the
necklace.
horns.
By the horns, absolutely. So
JD's right. It's like been really hard. He's saying those Scout books flew off shelves. The hard part is that normal, like, beautiful gap between issue number 1 and the next issue of just, like a couple months. It's been kind of stretched a little bit. So everyone's really like, give me my issue 2. They'll be so excited.
Yeah, well, we will be so happy to get them out there because our creators have done great work and the production people and everybody, like I said, we just had it staged and ready to go, but darn it, no paper. So we can take that next step. But like I said, now you're going to be getting a lot of Scout very soon for I don't know, I think it's 6 to 8 weeks or so that we got like 6 to 8 titles a week coming out. And then once we get everything caught up, later in the year, we'll be back to the, our normal schedule. And we, James David and Charlie did a fantastic job helping us get that under control. Cause it was, there's no problem. You can't find a workaround, and we've got a great team that can get it done. So we're really happy.
Yeah. And we got Salvatore Vivenzio in here. How's it going, man?
Yay!
We have the creator of Distorted. So make sure you guys, if it's not in your poll already, you definitely want to do it because it's a good book. And number 2, I think just hit the catalog. So you guys can pre-order it now. Well,
and the Distorted Ash Can is definitely out there for people to get. And, and then the issue 1 and 2 will be coming out very soon. So yeah, definitely don't miss that one.
It's such a cool story. Awesome. I think we just got a couple minutes here. Can you please let everybody know where they can find you on social media? Richard, we appreciate that.
Well, first talking about Scout, of course, we got scoutcomics.com, where you can find out all kinds of stuff. We put our press releases there too. Scout Comics is of course on Facebook and the Twitter and the Insta, and we even have a TikTok going on. So we got a channel for that. So you can find Scout Comics for sure, and you can find them at a lot of great stores like, I don't know, Space Cadets really has a nice selection. And then we've got also under Scout Imprint for everything. Scout Imprint, because Scout, of course, was gone. We've got Scout Imprint for Facebook and Twitter and everything else as well, where you can keep up on all the newest things that are going on with them. I've got stabdybunny.com, but I have not updated anything for a very, very long time, so don't look at that. But no, you can look there. You'll see the ancient. You'll be like archaeologists seeing the ancient past, and soon it'll be updated as well.
We got Matt Knowles in the house.
Matt Knowles, Matt Knowles and Steph there with Misfits Clubhouse. That's one of the books that'll be coming out fairly soon as well.
Got another one, right?
Had a really successful Kickstarter. And Misfits is just so much fun. It's kind of like it's one of it's got the essence of Scout all built into it. Young kids, imagination, fun, lighthearted adventures, and a lot of action.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, you guys should check it out. They are 2 amazing creators, and he says that he is impressed with your beard game today.
It's in tribute to James's mustache.
Yeah, the beards took over the show today. So, Jen, do you want to finish the episode with one last question, because I must ask you a question?
Okay, so Richard's known for making what would normally be a very cute thing and cuddly thing into something that might be a little bit terrifying in Stabby Bunny. What is everyone's favorite scary thing from like movies or TV that in and of itself isn't actually scary, but they make it seem scary in the
That's a good one.
That is.
I don't do that's actually a hard one, and I have to actually think about that.
Yeah, I can think of scary things, but think of something that's really not scary but is.
Can I say Teletubbies? Because they're pretty creepy. They're creepy, and they weren't intended that way.
I take it from the other direction, like Resident Alien kind of takes that the other direction. The alien wants to kill everybody, but instead it's kind of cute. So I answered the antithesis of your question, but it's adjacent.
I love it. I love it. Jen, would you like to see us out?
Oh my goodness, yes. As always, this has been an amazing get together. I'm super excited to see anytime I get to hang out with Joey. But I was driving, we pushing the limits today to make sure we get back to be able to see Richard by the door. Everyone should make sure they're adding, especially right now when there's been this kind of gap. Make sure you're adding Scout to your pull boxes at your local comic shop because we love LCSs and that's why we do what we're doing. So. Thank you for joining us for this episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye.